Why, hello everyone, and welcome to the stream. This is Otaku Showboat, joined by Mr. Cat up top. Mr. Cat, Mr. Ollie, back up behind. Yeah, it's the boy way up there. Today is Tuesday, November 21st, 2023. As a reminder, there will be no stream on Thursday, as that is Thanksgiving Day in the United States. So, yeah, that's a day that will be very busy. A day off, and then you proceed to just work the whole day. Like, great. Great. Wonderful. And even the day before, it's going to be like very hectic for a day that's supposed to be a holiday. So, what's gone on since the last time we met? Not too much. Not too much of an update to make. The new 3D printer is working beautifully. At this point, yes, there has been a Pi update, and I will talk about the Pi update at the beginning here. But first and foremost, we give a little bit of time for folks to show up at the beginning of the stream before really getting into the bulk of the meat of the content for the day. So look forward to that in just a couple minutes here. What else besides, hey, the 3D printer is actually good and working and excellent. I had to make one little setting change in the Reality Print slicer because I realized that by having that setting on, it made some stuff not, it made it a bit too fragile on certain, on one particular print that I was doing for the case holder, the Switch case holders. Yeah, those things. The one that's sitting there, I actually I edited the design of that a little bit, because you see I printed that in white, but that's a updated design, and I've updated it again because what I did with that one was a bit too much. I added a little bit of space for the actual slots, and even though it was only a 0.5 millimeter difference, yeah, it's a bit too large now for the Switch cases, so I just put it back the way it was. But the main thing I changed with this is that the actual like bars, these little bars here, yeah, those were like 1 millimeter thick or 1.5, and now they're 2. But with the new printer, there was a setting that was enabled that ended up making it so that those little bars would very, very easily break. They were very, very easily breaking on me, and I finally realized why. It's because there's a specific setting in the slicer that is a top skin layer setting. It was set to 1 top skin layer. Because this is a different slicer, I didn't realize that was set, because on the one I was using for the other printer, I had gotten rid of that a long time ago. And yeah, it's really hard to explain the difference in words, but basically by having that set to have a skin layer, it printed the quote-unquote top differently from the walls, and it made the walls weaker. Made it so that I could actually just rip off the walls. They just like ripped right off the bottom very easily. Just snap right off. It's like, great. That's great. Here is example of how they've ripped right off the base layer. This is what was happening right here. It's not good. And you see this is that pattern where it like draws like draws lines for the walls on the bottom on that base layer. But when it does that, it makes it really easy to just shear it right off. So it just shears like right off really easily, really easily. And I was like, really? Didn't do this before. Didn't do this with the old one. Any of the old prints, they don't do that. This one was printed on the old printer. This one doesn't do that. I can wiggle these around just fine, and they stick. They're good. They're good. They don't just break on you when you wiggle around the thingies. So it's like ugh, erg, arg. I disabled that, and I took the opportunity to redesign the things so that it's slightly thicker on these, ever so slightly thicker. So now they're 2 millimeters. But anyway, yeah. So that was a saga from yesterday. When I saw that, realized that was a thing that was happening. Little unfortunate, but oh well. We learn over time and make adjustments. What else? Yeah, so Hawkeye Star Rail is a thing that I continue to play every day, twice a day at least. Yesterday I got a 5-star character off of the event banner, and it was not the event character. I lost the 50-50 to a standard banner character, but fortunately to one that I did not have. In fact, the best one. The best character to get, honestly, in the entire game. Bronya. I hadn't had this character for a very long time. Finally got a copy of this character. In fact, if I did not get this character by the 300th pull on the standard banner, I would have picked her, because at 300 you get a choice of any standard banner character. You can just pick one to just get after 300 standard banner pulls. And I'm actually pretty close. And I was going to get Bronya at that 300, but now I have to do something else because I just got her. Yeah, so now I have to spend the next several weeks actually building this character that I hadn't planned on actually getting quite yet. But why is she so good? Why is she so broken? This is a turn-based game. So it's a turn-based game where speed influences turn order. And this is a character whose skill allows another character to completely skip the turn order entirely to perform next after her. Her skill jumps the line in turn order. So you can imagine how nice this is to use this skill on any main DPS character in the entire game, allowing them to get extra moves. Yeah, so she's the most busted, powerful character in the entire game. And it's nice to finally have her. So I'm happy a bit at the moment. Now to be a little bit less happy, because we're gonna go in. I'm gonna bring up some patch notes now. The Pi Suite has been updated, and I will say this at the very beginning. I am not applying these updates for today's stream. I am not applying these updates for today's stream, because there are certain changes that have been made that will break the base in its current state, and I need to make adjustments before I apply these patches. So, going through this, Alien Life has been updated twice. Main thing here is that photos have been overhauled. They no longer require fuel rods on their recipes, but instead the buildings now consume fuel rods. And in order to build the Bodo's buildings, you need to give them nuclear reactors. To which I say, Okay, but you do realize nuclear reactors are prohibitively expensive to build, right? Like, we have one, and I immediately stopped building them because they are ludicrously expensive to build nuclear reactors. And that in turn would make Bodo's buildings prohibitively expensive. That being said, because they now run on fuel rods, ideally, this is a general buff to Bodo's output because you are no longer going to be consuming fuel rods directly in the recipes. Like, ideally, you're going to get more Bodos per fuel rod used. That would be ideal, but I haven't looked at it yet because we're not there yet, and I haven't applied this yet. So other highlights from this Relesia, all Relesia recipes require hydrogen, so that's another thing that I need to update on here. A bunch of stuff was removed from being able to compost, which is like whatever. I don't use any of that anyway. At these days, the number one thing for compost is kickalc. Like that's number one most used is kickalc. Reproductive complex 1 is now rotatable, so that's nice. So you can actually have your fluid inputs on the top if you want, or on the sides if you want. That's nice. Some other general fixes here, not any of which are particularly consequential outside of the Bodo's overhaul. They changed archids so that used comb recycling recipes are available from the start now, which was required. That like, it made absolutely no sense that they made you wait to do the comb recycling. That makes a tiny dent into the issues with archids. That smooths things a little bit, but honestly, archids as a whole need an entire overhaul. And I'm wondering if this change is just the like lowest hanging fruit thing, easiest thing that they could do while they work on something bigger for archids. That's the hope anyway. They did add a recipe to create wax from sugar and honey. Woohoo. So yeah, Bodo's now, it's the fuel rods in the thing. They changed the scaling of the modules to be more consistent with the other stuff, which is nice. They reworked the turd upgrades for Bodo's a bit. It doesn't really matter to me at this point. They also modified Moondrop upgrades so that the first upgrade path, which uses copper ore, now gets a 20% speed increase instead of 10. They apparently, quote, reworked path 2 and then made it so that the they doubled the energy cost of the buildings when picking option 3, which is, you know, the CO2 from nothing. So that one's Pi Alien Life. What did they do with the graphics? What was the change here? Changed tech icons. Okay. Alternative energy has been updated so that neutron absorbers are required in order to get rid of neutrons that you have, like that are like excess neutrons. And it takes 50 seconds instead of half a second. And you need to give boric acid into the system to get rid of the neutrons as your only way of getting rid of the stuff. Great. Fantastic. Geothermal plants have a larger fluid box. Wonderful. This is actually good. This is good. This is good. They actually fixed fluid boxes across multiple things by increasing their internal fluid box size, so we can actually get the throughput that it says we're supposed to. New icons, fixed stuff being labeled fluids when they're gases. Reworked the aerial turbines from scratch, so we'll have to look at that. Tidal plants have mark numbers, etc. Not much of this is particularly consequential to the current state of our save. This is just new graphics. Yep. Coal processing, just fixes for stuff. Fusion energy, fixes circuit condition thingies. Not all that impactful. But then we get to petroleum handling. And we see here that light oil 2, it no longer does a thing twice, so it has filter the things. You got military tech fix. But then you get to this. Oh goodness, so this is the reason why, like the big number one top 2 reasons why I'm not doing this update currently. Why I'm not applying these updates right now. Removed tar to heavy oil, plus coke, and removed tar with coke oven gas to distillates. So now there's no recipe at all to convert tar to distillates. None to convert tar to distillates. It's only crude oil or bitumen. Those are your only options. Either crude oil with coke oven gas or crude oil with steam at a worse output ratio. Yeah. I've said this before, I'll say it again. It is exceedingly frustrating that the main response that Pi and the Pi team has to people, quote unquote, overusing recipes is to remove them from the game entirely. It is excessively frustrating that the response is to just remove it from the game instead of making the alternatives actual good alternatives, like actual choices. So we have to make some adjustments. The current state of the base, we are able to do alternative means of getting what we need from these. So essentially right now, all of my acetylene production and a dedicated coke build were using a tar to heavy oil recipe. Essentially, the way it was working was that I had wood into coal distillation, and I would take all of the coke oven gas and convert it into syngas, throw it into a gasifier to convert it into syngas, void the syngas, but take the byproduct tar and take all of the tar, throw it into this recipe to get extra coke. For the coke, not the heavy oil. And in that way, I could do the red hot coke processing of the coal from the wood, as well as get coke from the tar byproducts and the coke oven gas into tar byproducts. So now we can't do that at all anymore. I have an alternative way to get into acetylene that should theoretically be better. I have already at this moment in time gotten rid of a Coke build and replaced it with one that does not use this, that is using our beacons setup, and we'll look at that shortly. As for this, I have to find the couple of locations. I think I've only done distillation 2 times total in the base. I think it's been done twice so far. So the thing I need to do with that is just switch the recipe to crude oil and get crude oil. You know, just get crude oil. So, yeah, that's a thing. It's deeply, deeply disappointing, and I still need to update acetylene. I need a new acetylene build, and I need to adjust the tar to coke oven gas distillation to be crude oil distillation, and I need to make sure that all of the Relesia in the entire base are using recipes that have hydrogen as an input, because they're all going to need hydrogen. So those 3 things are the breaking changes that I need to account for before I apply these updates, and I will do that between streams. We're not going to focus on that today. Everything else is mostly inconsequential to us outside of, the Bodo's rework being a thing that exists that we'll need to think about sooner rather than later, because I do need Bodo's as like one of the next things. If I was smart, I'd be like building the Bodo's cultures up to like max amounts before applying the update where they get the extra required input of nuclear reactors. Like ideally, I would just be making Bodo's cultures Do I make them? No, I don't. Let's make Bodo culture before they get prohibitively expensive. Let's fill the thing up before they get prohibitively expensive. So, this is the base, the current base. I've done a few things. When we met last time, we finished the diamond build and then built aerogel. That was the main couple of things that we did last time. We wrapped up diamonds and, well, basically we built diamonds and then we built aerogel over here. We built this. And that's moving. It's fine. I don't have the modules placed in here yet to finish off all that. I've got the aerogel. It's just a matter of going there and doing the thing because, I now have a few modules on hand. Ready to go. As well as a few beacons on hand. And ready to go. So, over the course of these past couple of days, my focus has been on maximizing, or at least improving, my production of Circuit 2s, as well as improving my production of the Self-Assembly Monolayer Material, or SAM, as well as improving, everything else. And lots of other things and lots of stuff down those chains to improve throughputs of stuff. And I have, I've been using my beacons to great effect, including beaconing the beacons. Because, yes, last time we met, I did ultimately decide to beacon productivity effects. That was a big decision made last time. Just figured that, you know what? This series is called Productive Pyandons. We're going productive. We're doing full productivity. Like, I'm ready to laugh a lot. We've been playing now for a good while. The simulation time is over 2,000 hours into this save. I'm just done, I think, with building at this scale. It was interesting for a while. And I did build a lot. Like, you can't say that I didn't build a lot to this point. So now we can make this a lot smaller. That will be the goal for me going forward is using the beacons to make the entire base smaller and get my performance back. That would be nice to get my performance back. I would like to have some frame rate back again eventually. Now, you'll also notice that beacons use a bit of power. Just a little bit of power. Use a little bit. Just a little bit here. So I've needed to improve my power output just a tiny little bit. Fortunately, there's this one little technology right here called Geothermal Power Stage 2 that I picked up, finally. It lets you take geothermal water and convert it into pressurized steam. 1,000 degrees, which is a step behind what we currently could do. But, yeah, it's nice, because what that means is that with a build this small, we can make over 200 megawatts of power per unit of this. About 230 megawatts net per unit of this. Which is just a small modification of the previous Steam build. This now makes a lot of power in the base because, yeah, I built a few. I built a few units of this. Over here. I built a few units. This is 125 units of this, plus the other one for 126, which gets 252. Actual steam turbines, because it's 2 per unit. So, yeah, I've got a bit more power to play with for now. Just a little bit more to play with. And, of course, I've been adding the tidal power plants, but only the Mark 1s, as I've been making them, and have recently, just recently, begun making the Mark 2s. The Mark II tidal power plants are able to provide 30 megawatts of power each, as opposed to the Mark 1s, which only provide 6 megawatts of power. So they're more than 3 times better on this Mark level upgrade, but they're also way more than 3 times more expensive to build. They are significantly more expensive to build, each one of these. And you can't beacon them, that's the other thing, but it's completely free power. You just place them, you just place them, you get power. That's it. So they are generally a method of getting power that I prefer over most other methods. At least to the extent that I can actually have the resources to build them. Oh, am I not? Really? Oh no. No, I am. It's just I forgot that I do have the chemical plant twice in the base. Yeah. So, all that being said, and as my bots are quite active trying to build out, you know, all of these, as well as all of this up here, trying to fulfill my locomotive demands. I still do need to go and replace all of the locomotives in the base, but I want to have on hand, like, all of the locomotives that I need to do it all at once. And, yeah, there's currently 360 trains, but I know I've already, like, replaced a few of them and added more that are the upgraded advanced locomotives. Yeah, so it would suck for my acetylene to die when I have trains that require the acetylene to operate. Yeah. Yeah. With that recipe being removed, at least I'm assuming it's that recipe being removed, tar to heavy oil plus coke. I'm assuming that with this removed in this patch, this update that's released at this point, that yeah, it would break all this stuff because I don't void the tar anywhere. So you want to know basically everything about the current state of the base. Well, the current state of the base, we are simulated hours 2,119 and a half. Simulation time hours in. Yeah, so over 2,100 hours of simulation time. I am at chemical science, and I am working towards Pi Science 3. I do have turd upgrades currently. We have selected Arcod upgrade option 1. We have selected AUG upgrade option 1. Data array option 1. Fastwood option 1. Faugi option 2, which gives the upgrade to the stuffs. Gives upgrade to the stuffs, yes, very specific of me. It gives me the acid gas recipe from Faugi. For the incubators, I chose the option 2 for Zogna. Gets rid of the lamps for Zogna. For the microorganism mine, I picked option 3 for the PKSs plus Petri into incubated Petri. Not immediately useful, but it will be eventually. For Moondrop, I picked option 3 to get the CO2. For seaweed, I've picked option 2 to give me an alternative path into acetylene, and that is what I'll be basing my new acetylene build off of. For Tufra, I've picked option 2 to add the fungicide recipes, which are fantastic. For Vrauk, I pick option 2, which gives productivity to all the Vrauk machine recipes. And for Ziffo, I picked option 2 just because it's easy. Guarantees an output of adult Ziffo from larva. And that's all I've picked so far. There's a few that I have not taken the upgrades yet. I'm not sure when, if I will at this point, but that's the current state of those. Okay, all of that being said, next order of business. The goal for today is to build acrylic. So we're going to build acrylic. I've been sort of trying to plan this out, and it's not quite done yet. I do need to keep adding here. I need to put a request in for those. Why are there none of those at all? I'm going to force some of those to get made. So I did figure out what the total productivity bonus is when you have all of the different 25 variations of the diet beacons applied. And that is 450% with the level 2 productivity modules. So with 2 of these level 2 productivity modules in each of 25 diet beacons, each set to their unique settings, it's 450 plus the amount that's in the building, so up to another 20%. And that means that the equivalent beacons is 9 AM5 FM5s to get 450. So now I can plan around this using Factory Planner by setting it to AM5 FM5 with the 2 modules so that it gives the 450. The issue is that it's not going to be accurate in the amount of power. Now, I specifically don't tell it the total number of beacons, which is another setting in here, which would tell me the power draw. But yeah, let's just say that this is all presumptive of me to assume that I would actually have the full 9 or the full 25 affecting each and every single one of these buildings. But yeah, we're going to try to get fairly close to that in here, and this will be the build. You need coal dust, really. I will make that out of raw fiber, out of key calc. Oh, and I set it to default as well, so I don't even have to manually add it. It just does it for me. An entire 0 keycalc per second required. Yeah, it's just such a small value that it rounds to 0. So I guess we could make more than 1, huh? Since we're at 11111. What happens if it's... I'm sorry, what happens if it's 2? Are we still 11111? Yes. What about 3? Ah, we then need 2 DDCs, so we're going to stick with 2. We're going to stick with 2 per second. You will need ethylene chlorohydrin and methanol. So I wonder if I should do this separately, with separate builds. For the methyl acrylate and the acrylonitrile. I'm wondering if those should be separate from each other. Maybe not the acrylonitrile, but the methyl acrylate maybe. Or do the ethylene chlorohydrin separate. Don't know. Because this is going to be a rather humongous build if I don't split off something. I could import methanol. I do put that onto my train network. I'll need to make the gelling fluid 1 local and the chlorine for that matter. Yeah, we'll just do an ethylene chlorohydrin. Huh? Oh, the water. You don't need that. God dang, that's still half a silver. Oh, goodness. I should do that first. And by that, I mean go to silver and put down my my block of the beacons. Put down a beacon block, beaconing the hell out of the silver, make it excessively productive, and it's not going to be a big dent. It's not going to add much, but it is going to add enough. What I need to do at silver here, which is probably still backed up at the moment, is really I have to like pick up the lead upgrade. That guy. Followed by silver 2, and do the full chain that this unlocks, or at least most of it. Because that fundamentally buffs up the silver output quite considerably, and then that just makes the extra productivity even better in the end. Yeah. Yeah. That's one where it will be worthwhile going further down the chain. There's others where we're not going to have to. Especially if there's a feedback step along the way. We won't really have to. Do you feedback? You feedback. Hello. You feedback grade 1 when you process grade 2. And the point is the grade 3 output, right? So it all loops until you get grade 3. Yeah, ore makes 1, 1 makes 2, and 2 makes 1 plus 3. So this 1 and 2, these loop here to improve the grade 3 output. I wonder, and then the grade 3 goes into lead dust. I wonder if it is currently possible with beacon shenanigans to actually completely remove the need for ore off of the lead dust. I'm gonna say that it's probably no. Not off of that one loop. I don't think we're quite there. Even at 450% each. There are specific turret upgrades that are game-changing. That are really good. Am I missing? What recipe am I missing? Or is it just 1, 2, 3? There should be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. What am I missing? I'm missing the ore to 1. There we go. Ah, yeah. There you go. Yeah. So the answer is yes. Absolutely. We can completely remove ore from the equation in its entirety. That's useful. That's genuinely useful, because we do need infinity amounts of crap, and I'm gonna have to redo this to compensate, because I have to put down did I ever? Yes, I did ever. Boogers. Oh, not that one. That one. Uh, okay, that is... Huh? Oh. I just have to move that. And then we have 470% productivity off of this one. This one will make 2.24. I would need 7 to get a full 15 out. Yeah, so that there's a bit of a speed issue here. And I can't beacon speed. That does, again, make me inclined to go further down the chain. But, you know... yeah, I only need one of you running. Ideally, upgraded. I said upgrade! Right, who else is missing from you? These two. What else? These 4. There you go. So now that one's capped. Not like it matters too awfully much, but I think that that's all I'm going to do at the moment with this. Yes, I could like do it to every step along the way, but I don't think that there's much of a point to that yet. Soon, but not yet. I do want to get the upgrade tech, despite it not costing the ore, because I don't want to spend that much power to get the silver. Not quite yet. I'd rather cast it, do what I can to get the casting recipe, the shortest route to casting, and then maximize the output from the casting machine because it will be a significantly faster output. All right, so ethylene chlorohydrin will be what I do here, just repurposing the old build for coke. So this will be supply ethylene chlorohydrin. Depot ethylene chlorohydrin. It will need a fluid. Great. A fluid and 1, 2, 3, 4 solids. Oh, that doesn't feel so good. Taking in an entire warehouse, basically, into my inventory. Okay. This is going to need silver. It is going to need methane. We need iron oxide. We need guts. And guts are stacked. And we need wood. Stacked wood. You'll also notice that I am now running red belt, primarily. I'm not currently beaconing the production of the red belt, but we can. Can I explain the circuits for my train stations? Asked on Twitch chat. Yes, I can explain the train station logic here briefly. So with the train stations, we have two arithmetic combinators. The first one takes in the amount of the stored. It takes in the stored content, divides it by a constant, in this case 4,000. It then takes that number, output as signal X, and then does a constant 2 minus that number to output P. Now, what this logic does, when combined with the train requester being set to number of trains on the way being less than P, is that it will limit the number of trains that are on their way to 2. It will limit it to 2, so no more than 2 trains may ever be sent to a single train station request. So if you have a bunch of trains, 10, 20 plus supplier trains, any one request will only take 2 of them rather than trying to have all of them sent to a single location. You need some limits there. This logic combines a couple. It really combines 2 things. It combines limiting the number of trains that are on their way, as well as how much gets stored as well. So this first one controls how much gets stored. This one controls how many trains are on the way. Now, what ends up happening is that the amount stored will end up being multiplied by the number of trains on the way, the max number of trains on the way. So this will stop requesting when there are 2 times 4,000 units of stuff stored at the train station. That is when it will stop requesting trains. So yeah, in this case, it will not request trains if you have more than 8,000 units of fluid in this station, or more than 2,000 units, or 4,000 units, excuse me, of silver in this station. And I've had to make adjustments in some places where I can't actually store that much in the warehouse, where the warehouse doesn't even hold that much inherently. So, yeah. That explains that. Now, am I looking forward to the railway update in 2.0? And do I want to build ramps? I mean, honestly, I don't really have much of a... I don't see much of a point to elevated rail I think it's just going to invite people building more spaghetti than actually anything of aesthetic value. I think the game is perfectly playable with the current mechanics as they currently exist, and adding that is just it's just extra. I don't desire it. It's never really crossed my mind that I want to build trains over stuff. Like, no. No, what I'm more enthusiastic, I guess you could say, about it would be the ability to do the S-bends, the single S-bend, blah, 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 how to describe specifically. Being able to go from this line to this line seamlessly. Being able to have tighter curves. That's something that's going to be far more impactful, is tighter curves. And that is part of the free update for the Rails. All of the ramps and over rail stuff, that is part of the paid DLC. But the tighter curve stuff should be part of the free DLC. Or the free update. That should be part of it. Ideally. At least that was my interpretation. But yeah, in terms of do I want to build ramps? Not really. No. I think it's just going to clutter things more, ultimately. I don't see a reason to use them. It'll be useful for folks who want to build like super compact bases, but that's not me. That's not how I play the game. I don't have a need for using the ramps, using elevated rail. I don't have a need for it. And I will use the blueprints of those who are much smarter than me, who make use of the updated, tighter curves. I will use blueprints for the tighter curves. That will make intersections look nicer. Ah, that's a use. That's a use case. Okay. It just occurred to me. Yes, you could use the elevated rails to make more efficient intersections, and that would be something I would look forward to if I really felt like I really needed more efficient intersections. More efficient intersections / like more efficient like outpost station stuff, like entrances, exits for outposts would be more efficient with elevated rail. You could actually design it more along the lines of, you know, an actual interstate intersection, like actual highway intersections, by having the elevated rails. But since you only get one layer of it, it's like you're not going to get really efficient stuff. But yeah, the intersections should become more efficient with the elevated rail stuff. It's just, I have never really built a base that even saturates it in the current mechanics. So where is the value? Really? It's only for those who make extreme mega bases in more vanilla settings where you have those much higher throughputs of ore trains in particular that drive very high train throughputs on your rail system. And that's only really going to be useful in those high throughput systems. it doesn't matter the ramps themselves are large, and they are not very large. Clearly, you've never played Pyandons mods before. Like, there's a very different sense of scale of what is very large when there are regularly buildings in Py mods that are much larger than those ramps are. The ramps will allow you to build more compactly because you can build under them. Granted, with specific spacing for the pylons. That's the point, is you can build under, and they can go over your existing infrastructure, and that does make it more compact. Like, the overall savings will add up more than the ramp size. Like, yes, it will be more compact overall. It will have the ability to be more compact overall if you're willing to take the time to make it that way. But yeah, I'm not going to take the time to make it that way. I don't see the point. I am not one. That builds super compact. I don't consider that a fun way to play. I just want to solve the puzzle. Build a solution and then not worry about it ever again. So I'm not really thinking about the thingies, am I? Break that. Move it up. Out of the way. Bacon! I never remember which side is which. I think the left side is the 5s. Nope. I was wrong. So it's the side with that belt that's the 5s. So of course that one needs to be moved. This goes up to 470. That's exactly what I want it to be. This guy can be brought in closer. Now, the fun part. Big quotations around the fun part. We need all of the 4s and all of the 5s again. There's 470. And then this guy, I'll stick here, who is not affecting you. The 3s. And the 3s need to be far enough away. And then those two. And the 5. Those 5s. And that's a Mark 1, so 460 is the max. Oh, looks like I made a mistake. These 3s are affecting that building. These 3s also are, so they need to be moved up. I thought they were a tile higher, but I guess not. There we go. We back. We back in business. Yeah, so that's how the factories will work going forward. Yeah, it's a bit of power each time I do that. It's just a smidge of power each and every time I do that. There you go. Excellent. Excellent job. Okay. Next. The output. And the other input. There, now the ethylene chlorohydrin is going. There, if this looks incredible right now, if it looks rather insane, it gets better over time. It gets more insane over time. This is just with the level 2 modules and the diet beacons. Oh, just you wait until we get the Bob's beacons. The regular Pi beacons, too, are, you know, 5x more than these. It's a 5 times difference in their effectiveness, just inherently. But you can place a lot more Bob's beacons around the place, and they transmit, what, 6 each? Fully? 100% distribution efficiency? So 1.0 times 6 times infinite around the building, a lot around the building, is considerable. But also, we get better modules. We can get God modules that add 50% productivity apiece. So 5x on here as well. So things will become very stratospheric very quickly. Anyway, I should have added a locomotive, so we're just going to stop in our tracks. Add the train. Supply, depot, full cargo, circuit condition, go. Be free, my friend. Go back up there. Click this. Assign. That. And then apply, of course, everything across the base. That's like the levels we are aspiring to. Now, this is very, very heavy on my beacon usage. And I may not even have enough beacons now for acrylic. Pretty sure I don't. But we're gonna build as if I do. Now, I said that I will import the ethylene chlorohydrin, but it looks like I still need to make things like chlorine. Alright. I don't need to be like 100% efficient with this, clearly, but would be nice. Like, realistically speaking, where can I get rid of some productivity here? Like, as nice as it would be to have the whole thing have the full values for every single one of these steps, realistically speaking, the one that matters the most is the final step, obviously. The final step, the natural gas in here. One of these days I'm actually gonna do the acetone separate. Maybe I should just do the acetone separate. First off. If I do the acetone separate, that will get rid of that guy, that guy, that guy. That guy. That guy. Really? Yeah. Gets rid of all of that. I can also get rid of the natural gas because I provide it on the train network. And if I need more, I should scale it where I make it. So this will be the actual acrylic build for now. It will import acetone. So I have to make acetone on the train network. Acetone. Through cumene, ideally. But let's see. Yeah. So it needs titanium tetrachloride. That's going to need coal dust, and the coal dust can come from raw fiber for now from kickalc. The chlorine has to come from somewhere. Either way, whether I use guts or whether I use, you know, just nothingness, either way, I have to bring in a solid fuel to get rid of the stupid stuffs. The sodium hydroxide. I would need to either get rid of the sodium hydroxide by bringing in the wood stacks or just bring guts and wood stacks, so it's like doesn't save anything. Stripped distillates, medium distillates from... We will not have this recipe when I do the update, so we have to pick something else. Either bio oil, which is not going to happen under any circumstances ever, or crude oil steam, crude oil coke oven gas, or bitumen steam. Bitumen steam will not ever happen. The coke oven gas is more efficient overall by a little bit for the amount of medium distillates that you need, but I'm going with the steam because steam is free for me. It is one of the easiest things. It is able to be made direct on site. Now, I will need crude oil. And our only real option at the moment is small parts, and I should have Mark II pump jack availability. Cough, hack, wheeze. We're gonna force a couple of those to get made. We're gonna force a couple of those. 1,000 productivity modules. Yay. Now, if only I had bacon. We need infinite bacon. Infinite bacon. Think of it this way, it's up to 25 per step in a processing chain. What are you missing? Oh, circuit 2s? Well, have I got a thing for you? Have I got news for you? We've got a lot of those around. We should have plenty of those around. I have no idea how the quality mechanic will be used or able to be used by mods. I have no idea how quality is defined, how the recipes are created in the vanilla state of the game in order to get the quality effects, the quality upgrade effects. It will be non-existent if you have to manually create those items. Like if they have to manually define a whole bunch of variations of recipes for quality, then it's probably just not going to happen. Or it'll take a really long time to get support for it. It depends on how things are implemented completely, and like what the actual final mechanics are going to look like for quality. And what recycling is going to look like. Are the recycling recipes manually defined? That's really what I'm thinking here. Now that my memory has come back to me of how this mechanic works, the issue is not going to be the creation of quality. It's the creation of the recycling recipes of the quality items. That's where I think it's going to be extremely painful for mod authors if that is not something that is easy to do. Very easy to do, because the Pi Suite has thousands of items, and the last thing that any mod author needs is to have to make 4 or 5 variations of every single item for the recycling recipes if you have to do that manually. So that's my main concern, is just the recycler is a building that will exist, and how the recipes for that furnace are defined is going to be it's going to determine how long it takes to get that support in most of the overhaul mods. That being said, it's a little bit early, but I do need to take a break. I do need to get up. I need to leave. I'll be back in a few minutes from my break, just a few minutes early. I'll be back shortly. We'll go and we'll do this acetone part of this build, and then we will get on to acrylic. I have returned. Welcome back. Oh my goodness. This is the scene. Hi. Hello. Oh goodness. Feel a little bit better now. Yeah, when the body says it's time. Oh, it's time. So, let's go build acetone somewhere. Would be nice to have more beacons though, but you know. That's something we're going to be limited by for a while. Oh, autosave, autosave. Please, autosave. Please finish as quickly as you can. Okay, this is the build that we will do next. It won't have all of its modules, but will be good enough. I guess all the... Did I get any light oil refineries while I was up there? Probably not, huh? Yeah. Did I get any of you? Oh, there. I grabbed 3. So that should be good enough. Good enough. Okay, but do that. There. And do that. There. Excellent. Excellent. As I reposition myself. Okay, we're good now. Ah. Oh. Alright. Let's get settled in. There we go. Alright. Now. Hello. Hello, I have been joined. I have been joined by Cat. By Mr. Cat. Hello, Ollie. Hello, Mr. Ollie. Yes, that's a chest. That's a very soft, nice, pretty chest. Yes, big boy. Oh, there's the face. There's the face. There he is. There's the Ollie. Yes, that's Ollie. Hello. Hello, Mr. Cat. You've decided to join me on the desk rather than be behind me. Rather than be up on the box stack behind me. Behind the thingy. The thingy, the media case thing behind me. Now, Mrs. Cat was up in the bathroom. Mrs. Cat, Miss Dolly was up on the bathroom counter. Oh, you see something? You see something out the window? Yeah, big boy. Did you see something out the window? Oh, there he goes. He's Nuzzles. He's Nuzzles. Yes, Mr. Nuzzles. The Nuzzles. He wants his patting. He wants his attention. What are you doing with my phone? You're grabbing my phone. You're grabbing my phone. Yes, my phone. You're grabbing my phone, huh? Yeah, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Is that another kitty? Is that another kitty on the back of the phone? That's Umbreon. That's a shiny Umbreon. Is that another kitty? Looks like you. Looks like you, nice and dark. Yes, big boy. Alright, let's get through this. What does this build ultimately look like? It needs to be just like the other one, actually. Get rid of all of this. I think... Oh yeah, and I didn't put in any of the infrastructure for the drilling fluid either, so that's gonna be fun. You need sand. You need clay. You need wah-wah. You need soil. None of this will be productive. I am gonna say that from the start, right up front. None of that will be productive. It's just that's the defaults. I will not need to provide any fluid whatsoever for you. Ta-da! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now he's here. He's grooming. He's grooming. Mr. Cat is grooming. He's gotta make himself pretty. Okay. Usually start from the bottom. Click the... Are you kidding me? That thing. That thing. One of the worst parts of this performance of the game being under 1x is that there will be times where I click a button and I know I clicked a button, but it doesn't register that I clicked the button. It does that so many times. It would help if I clicked the correct spot in the first place, this instance, but I've had plenty of instances where I know I've clicked the button, but it doesn't register because the performance is bad. Oh, hey, yeah, that's the usual break time. We don't need that today. We've already had our break time. We might have another break especially if we stream an extra hour today, but thus far it's just a normal stream. Not extended. Steam. I don't think I need to put the entire Steam build for this. I'm just gonna grab a regenerative heat exchanger. If I can find them. There you are. It's odd that it's a different building for the other stuff. So this is the regenerative heat exchanger. I'll go ahead and give it productivity. Sure, why not? I also need the geothermal power plant. Trying to remember where those exist in this list, because it's a bit of a big list. There they are. Geothermal plant. And geothermal plant gets speed, and it needs the pressure pumps. There should be a few of them in my inventory. There they are. And, you know, I probably only need one of these as well. So, there we go. for all of that, and that should be all that I need. Oh, you need soil directly as well. Great. I need a total of 0.16. So what are we doing after we beat pi? Gee, I wonder. As I've been saying, most likely OmniPi. And I know that that infantryman has been posting on my Discord some of his pictures from his Omnimatter playthrough, for the exception that he's not just playing with Omnimatter, he's playing with Dangerous. Which, yeah, is an experience that I will not be showcasing, ever. I will not be playing with Dangerous. That will not happen. Essentially with that, the entire map is ore. The whole thing is ore, and if you have Omni, the whole thing is Omnite. Ore. And if you step on it, you basically die. You take damage when you step on it. So basically you have to mine the planet to build safe space to build your factory. Yeah, the floor is lava, basically. Just everywhere there's ore, you can't really be. Which is the whole map. Good luck. I find that to be an incredibly tedious time. I don't think I would enjoy that at all. Because, well, it seems that he has a way of automating the mining. I really don't want to have to go through the effort of figuring out how to do something like that, or to force something like that. Like, the only way it could even remotely be possible without becoming annoying is if there were very easy ways of automating mining. And yeah, that involves several mods. That would involve several mods, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to take that time to learn all that crap. So this is one where it's actually at least somewhat important to get the productivity in, but whatever. I'm pretty sure even if I did productivity, everything, or if I didn't productivity anything besides the last step, it would be fine. But I'm not going to delete from this list. I might actually, you know what, what we're gonna do is we're going to duplicate, and then from here we will delete all of this, because I only really have enough for one setup anyway. But you can see that the most important part was the last step from the beginning, and that everything else, all the rest is just very, very minor enhancements. Really, the end is what matters the most on this, and you can see just how free this still is despite that, and everything else is still just one building for 100 acetone, and it's barely using over a quarter. It's barely a quarter of the building when it's max productivity for the current state of the base. So it could go higher, and these buildings could very well support higher. Not the pump jack, though. I would need another pump jack, but yeah, not gonna happen. All right, so we need some small parts. I absolutely buffed small parts. Those have been taken care of. Yes, small parts over here. Yeah. These are productive now. It's making like it's 100 and something off of the one machine. It's like 100 something. So I've got the small parts now. Oh yeah, and this like belt, red belt of the wires, the copper wires, is like 4 plates. It's yeah, it's quite nice. He's quite nice. I've begun work at the advanced small parts as well, wherever those exist. There's room for improvement at the advanced small parts. All right, dump. Dump that. Dump bottom. Dump top. We need mid. And we need steam. Steam, glorious steam. Why, oh why? Actually, I know what I could do. I could do this, because that's a pass-through, because this building is a steam pass-through. Yes, yes. It passes through the steam. That's gonna make the crude oil, the crudest of crude. That solves that guy, and then essentially I will have these light oil refineries. They will be together, but I need the titanium tetrachloride first for those. And to that end, oh yeah, I was gonna need the wood stacks anyway, because I have to delete the phenol. Phenol must be deleted. Guts. Wood. Geek out. Who was the last one? Titanium. Duh. Duh. Last one is titanium. Why no titanium? Is it just lack of train? Just lack of train. It just needs more trains. Yeah, because that's already been somewhat enhanced. It can be more enhanced now. Now that I put the productivity beaconing, this could be even better. But it does not. It's not high on the priority list to do that. Not to titanium, but definitely to silver, as we've begun to do. That is one of the more important ones to do. Really, at this point, it's just I'm just trying to figure out, like, what should be my priority? Like, what are my actual priorities to spend beacons? Like, what's that look like? What is the the spending priority, what would have the biggest impact? And realistically speaking, the things that have had the biggest impact is the, the stuff that makes the beacons and the modules. As you can probably tell, I've sort of got the module production now, so it's a matter of scaling the beacons now. Since I have the modules, it's now a matter of scaling the beacons. Since yeah, priorities would be to maximize my ability to beacon. My ability to beacon should be the #1 priority, so it's focusing on what's the limiting factor for these. And the limiting factor for these had been the towers. But I can see now that this has the towers, it does not have the circuit 2s. Okay, so then what is the next circuit 2 bottleneck to address? Since it seems to have everything else besides the circuit 2s in that box. It's like, well, at circuit 2s, down here, we can see that they are lacking in MOSFETs. Still. MOSFETs down over here are lacking, in something different now. It was lacking in the heavy N-doped silicon. We can see here that there is an opportunity for me to productivity beacon this. So I can do the productivity on this, but I do still need to address the fact that it just doesn't have an input. What input is that? Nici. For whatever reason, it does not have enough nickel silicon. So no Nisi. Nisi. We need more Nisi. Okay, well, where is that getting made? And why is it limiting? What is your issue with the Nici? It would appear as if it just needs to be scaled. And that's it. It is simply a matter of there's just not enough, so it just needs to be scaled. And that's a very easy problem to solve. Thank God that that's actually an easy problem to solve. Anyway, there's Cumene again. This is, how many times have I done that one now? This is what, third time? I think it's mostly just been the Cumene process where I've done the distillation. I have to go to the other locations where I'm doing this and modify them to do the crude oil process instead of the tar-based process. But since they also have the coke oven gas already, since they already have it, I'll just use the coke oven recipe. The cat hath left, so let's turn that off for now. And that will make cumene, and lastly, this will make phenol, and I will need a voiding line. Isn't it interesting how they clearly intended that this is a phenol recipe when actually it's an acetone recipe in disguise? Funny how they thought that. Just like the tar to heavy oil recipe is actually just a Coke recipe in disguise. Yeah, now it got removed and doesn't exist anymore, and I'm sad. It really does suck that like the default action for people quote unquote overusing recipes is to just remove them instead of make the other stuff more enticing to use. Make something that's on par with or better than that. That's a very simple solution, and yet they just are like, oh, they use this? Delete it. Here. Copy. Paste. Rename S acetone. Deacetone. All right, now the important part, which is the actual, productivity. Yeah, that thing, that little niggling thing, the making it productive part. That's going to determine the actual outputs here. Where is this guy? So it's the side with the stuffs that has the 5s. This. Yeah. Yes, the side with the stuffs. How very specific of me. Excellent. Excellent. I should stack you. Then void it. Yes. Yes. Glorious. Beautiful acetone. Let us define acetone. Head back for a restock. Now we can look at acrylic, because now this build is the build, and I'm trying to think whether or not I want this ammonia to be productive. That's part 1. Because this exists. That's like a step 1. It's like, well, that exists. And is significantly better if productive. That means I'll have to bring in syngas with the acetone, and since I have to use the acetone anyway to make the acrylic, I may as well do this way. I am going to keep it productive, though. At least I would like to. I don't know, I don't think any of it really needs the productivity. Yeah, I'll do that just because, you know, I'm down to 12 beacons and I need at least 25. And there are none. 0 on the way. So I'm gonna have to force a few made in order to actually do this build. As my buddies come and try to restock me. But that was performance loss there. A whole bunch of them delivering all at the same time. All right, buddy. I'll take those. Yes, eventually all the things and the stuffs. Everything eventually. Everything will happen. Those. Gib. Gib bacon. Need the bacon. It is actually weird. It's like I have so many that have their full stack in it. So many buildings have their full stack. It's like, well, where are all the circuits going then? Huh? Like, what's going on? Where are they all going? Build, build, build. I need 25. I mean, so one of the obvious places, well, the obvious places that need productivity right now are all of the sciences. That's like a duh moment. I do need to go to the sciences and make them full productivity. Yeah, it's this big change that's going on. It will help having the beaconing of the productivity here, but realistically speaking, in this update that just went out, it's just 3 things that I need to update. 3, like, recipe changes that I need to address in order to do this update. Because I haven't applied the update that went through today. I haven't applied it yet. If you weren't here for the very beginning, where I went over all the changes and I went over the 3 main things that are breaking that I want to fix before applying the update. At least the 3 that I noticed in the patch notes. Of course, there's most likely things that have been changed that did not end up in the patch notes, because they always do that. Because it always happens. But yeah, the 3 things would be to make sure that all of my Relesia plantations have access to hydrogen, where I've been built using a hydrogen-based recipe. Next one is to go through and redo my acetylene builds to not use this recipe in them. That does tar to heavy oil, because that's being deleted from the game. And then to go through the distillation areas and replace the tar with crude oil at distillation processes, because they've removed the tar plus coke oven gas recipe, which was the only other tar recipe for distillation. So now there's just no distillation using tar. It's only crude oil or bitumen. They changed fluid box sizes. That's not the same thing as a hitbox. That's not the same. The internal fluid box, it's not an actual thing that exists, entity that exists on the map. It's just a definition of how much fluid can exist within a building for its output. It's like the size of its warehouse, internal storage. So yeah, the size of internal storage for fluid has changed in a number of buildings, and that is a buff, that is an improvement. That means that you can actually get the output that it's supposed to output. Ideally, also, it means that you can get the productivity gains off of those machines. Oh boy, that's the other thing to check. Once I do the update, is like, is the fluid box big enough to handle twice the output? In which case, then you can actually get the productivity ticks. If that internal fluid box size is 2x the output per cycle, then you can gain your mining productivity bonuses with 100% of the uptime. That is the problem, the vanilla bug. Frankly, it is a bug. I don't care what the developers may say or think about it otherwise, but it is a bug that you do not get productivity gains from oil mining in the base game, in the vanilla base game. That is frankly a bug. Because your mining productivity ticks still happen, and yet you don't get anything from them. That is a bug. Like, it does not matter if that is like the intended way for it to work, for you to not get productivity from the mining then, but if you aren't intended to get the mining productivity from oil derricks, then why do oil derricks have mining productivity, period? If it is not intended for you to have mining productivity gains from oil derricks, then they should be then that mechanic of mining productivity should be removed from the derricks. Full stop. Clearly, it's not then intended. It is then, therefore, not intended for that to be the case, because they would just not have it be productive at all. And thus, it is a bug. Plain and simple, full stop. It is a bug. Either it is a bug that it has productivity, mining productivity in the first place, or it is a bug that you don't get your mining productivity gains because of the issue of the internal fluid box not being large enough to hold the contents of the two cycles that happen at the same time. So either the fluid box of the vanilla oil derrick needs to be doubled, or the mining productivity needs to be removed from those mines, and productivity modules not be allowed to be installed in those buildings. One of these things will need to happen. One of these things needs to happen. Just full stop. One of those two. Those are the only two options. Because either way, something is wrong. It is an inconsistent behavior from the vanilla game. And it is apparent in PySuite, which adds additional mining buildings for fluids, more fluid mining. It is apparent here that fluid boxes matter. They do matter. It matters whether or not you can actually get productivity from your mines that are supposed to have mining productivity. And this is fundamentally why people say only use speed modules on oil derricks. This is fundamentally why it's a recommendation use speed on oil derricks. Now, yes, late game, if you are depending on vanilla oil mining of fully tapped out crude oil, yes, speed helps more. And speed will generally help more with those types of mines, but it's not consistent that you just don't get anything from productivity anytime the productivity tick happens at the same time as the finishing of a standard tick of the recipe. You should still get the bonus. Even if speed is better overall, productivity should still have an effect. You should still get productivity. Anyway, things. Stuff. Acrylic. Our goal for the day. We shall acrylic. I don't have the Mark II of these yet. That's have I picked that up? I might have, actually. I might have picked up that tech. I have now picked up this tech, so I could go and build the Mark II biofactories and all the other stuff. I should do so, it's just even if I did, it would still take time. Oh, you output cyanic acid as a byproduct. Interesting. That would be interesting if you had picked up the Verler synthesis recipe that lets you convert cyanic back to ammonia. From Vrauk upgrades. Pretty sure that's Vrauk upgrades, but I still wouldn't pick that option ever. I'd rather have the productivity. Methyl acrylate needs this. Why do you do this? Why do you do this? Ah. 3 different fluids all brought in by train. Oh boy. As well as syngas and acetone. This needs like 5? Does this need 5 fluids? Hold up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fluids. Hello, Ollie. Hey, Mr. Cat. Hey, Mr. Cat, back. He's come back and he's going to the window. Great. Alright then, now how many solids? 4. One, 2, 3, 4. Ollie, you're flicking your tail. You're whacking stuff with that tail. There he goes. Now he's properly on the windowsill. All that would be left would be that, right? Yeah, pretty sure. All right. That's low enough value on both of them. Hey, yeah, more of this. And natural gas in, and syngas, and acetone. Additional acetone. So who's the acetone? This is the This is the acetone. Acetone. Then sulfuric, I guess. Or no, syngas next. Synthesis gas. And then do sulfuric acid. And then ethylene chlorohydrin. It's on this page, right? No. It's on that page? No. That page. Yes. That one. And methanol. And then natural gas. The last one. How natural. Oh, it's only those. Okay. So we have some solid inputs on these guys, and I need to bring down the oxygen. That's all the fluids. We need moly, lignin, iron, and nickel. Yes. Moly, lignin, Iron nickel. Bah. Bah. There, 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 there. There's Mr. Cat. There's Ollie. Hey, Ollie. Yeah, the baby. Here's the baby boy. That's the big boy. That's the big boy. What's the big boy doing? It's my Ollie. Yeah, she likes his rubs. He likes his rubbings. That's a big haunch. You got big haunches. Yeah, that's the boy. He wants the pets. The pets. Oh, boy. Oh, joy. Who's the inner line? This second one? Okay. Now I know. Iron. Iron. I forget, did I stack the lignin? Yes, I did. Dang. Molly? Molybdenum? Molybdenum. Why, hello. And goodbye. And nickel. Nickel. That is acrylic. It just needs the bacon. Then we just need bacon. Bacon! What? Oh, frick. I got the wrong stuff. That was not the stuff that I wanted. Wait, what? Oh, I must have put the wrong... There we go. I put the wrong thingy. I put the wrong train on the thingy. Whoopsies. Yeah. Yeah, we don't want ethylene glycol. We want ethylene chlorohydrin. That was a whoopsies. Alright then. Just add the moly. There's the moly, there's the nickel, there's the lignin. Now just add that, and then everything will move. And we'll have acrylic. Now what does acrylic do for us? Not much currently. As in absolutely jack all currently. But it is an ingredient directly for PyScience 3, and that was the point, was to get this ingredient for PyScience 3. That was the whole point. We are working on the ingredients for PyScience 3, and that was required for that. So these are moving now as well. Looks like we get a lot more methyl acrylate. Gee, I wonder why. It's not as if this is a closer building that has more productivity on it, right? Yeah, 164 versus not 164 across the board. Yeah, these acrylonitriles are a little bit slower. But it's fine. We're good. So what else? What is next to work on the way, on the path to PyScience 3? What is the next set of things to do on our way to PyScience 3? What do we have access to? So just keeping in mind that we now have the acrylic and we have aerogel as well. The next thing would be tributyl phosphate, I think. Tributyl phosphate will be required to make advanced substrate, unless... Actually, no, we have to do that anyway. There's no unless. We have to get advanced substrate as advanced substrate for the bio ore. And there's no way around that currently. There is a way around processed ash. That is an option when you pick a Zapier upgrade. You can take your Zapier upgrade and pick one that lets you burn Zapier into processed ash directly. That prevents you from having to go the route of making those 3 different enriched biomasses and then washing it, and then washing it again with sulfuric acid. Well, leaching it with sulfuric acid. Yeah, it saves a bunch of work to use Zapier that you likely already have at that point. But I'm not certain I want to take that option right now. And then it's 1-to-1 into bio ore. Either way, we will need TBP, so this should theoretically be our next thing that we make. And we'll need acrolein. Acrolein and cobalt extract. I don't actually put cobalt extract on the train network. I always make it local. And I am more inclined to use silver now, instead of doing the ethanol stuff. Sounds like a decent enough plan. Phosphoric acid is definitely a place where I am absolutely interested in using my productivity to scale our first acrylic. Milestone achieved. But let's see here. That is great alien samples. We have to get this tech for the great alien samples. We have graphene access as well. I'll need to build molecular assemblers. I think I want to plan graphene. Yeah, I think I want to plan graphene. I will need biofilm. So first up is biofilm. The best option is from rayon, so I will, sadly, I will do the rayon. All right. Biofilm. I'll want a few of it. Oh, and I'll want that recipe ultimately. Because, yeah, that multiplied by 5 and then some is pretty nice. But we need to unlock resin for it first, even though we have subdenier microfiber. Yeah, getting 10 in a cycle is really, really nice. And that is the build. I don't even need to really think about the beacons for you. And for you. Definitely don't for key calc, even though it is possible. Oh, joy. I just removed the wrong thing, didn't I? Yeah. Yeah, so that's the build. That's the biofilm. Might want to, like, get more, but I can't do the full 15 off the one building. Chances are, when I build this, I'll end up with the full amount from the one building, so there is that. All right, next would be graphene. Graphene. For the graphene rolls, I will need to provide grade 4 copper onto the train network. But that's fine. I can deal with that. That is not an issue at all. I will need to make the molecular assemblers, though. Speaking of, let's try to make it like one building for now. Even though I know that I will need more graphene rolls, it's just, you know, the number of beacons. That may say 9, but it's actually 25. Holy crap, that made a few. There's over 200 on the way of the beacons. Yeah, that happened. There's over 200 beacons on the way now. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. That's nice. Give me that building, please. You need stuff I apparently don't have. Okay. Let me grab that real quick. And then why the hell are there no automated factories at all? As well as like no steel at all. Like steel? Steal my steel? Oh, it's duh, it's the steel. Duh. Lack thereof. Enjoy, have some steel. I guess I'm going to scale my steel sooner rather than later. That will be interesting, because that I think... I'm not sure. I don't think that there's much if any, there's no feedback loops on the current state of the iron processing chain, but it can definitely get a lot of gains from productivity to be effectively like nil on the ore input. What the hell happened to you? Oh. Okay, that would explain a bit about the lack of molten over here, because this is dedicated to molten steel. That would sort of explain that. It's just that does not really explain this. And I do need to be careful because the current productivity modules are not pure productivity modules, so they will greatly expand the amount of solid fuel that gets eaten up in here off these basic oxygen furnaces. It will eat a few of them. Quite a bit of stuffs, if given the opportunity to. It will eat lots and lots and lots. Alright, where are those nuclear reactors at? Where's these guys? Have you been building these guys for me? A couple, but whatever. Here, have some duralumin. Build infinite of these before they start requiring nuclear reactors. For the love of God, I do hope that that they changed the recipe for the nuclear reactors to be something a little bit more palatable, because these things are way above and beyond too expensive. Like 500 circuit 2s is not okay. 500 concrete is not okay. 500 stainless steel is not okay. 500 titanium is not okay. I do hope that they adjusted this to be at least 10 times lower if they're going to make this building an ingredient for Bodos. Like, that seems like an extreme oversight if they did not adjust this for Bodos. Like, this is not, it's not okay. I really hope that they adjusted it. They did not say anything in the patch notes about adjusting it. So we'll see. We'll find out. Graphene sheets and PDMS and nickel cores with PDMS. Methyl dichlorosilane is what needs the copper grade for. It also needs chloromethane. And is that basic? Is that everything at its base level? Delete, 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 delete. I can delete like all of it, actually. The only important step is the last one. Autosave is auto-saving. All right. That will be the build for the graphene. It does need the copper grade 4. It needs the grade 4 copper, but otherwise I'm pretty sure that's it. Should I make the grade 4 copper local? No, I don't think so. There's no real point. First up is the biofilm, though. That's step 1, is get the biofilm done and dusted. I do need them to deliver to me this building, though. So if you could do that, thank you kindly. You've delivered me 1. And that's all I really need of that particular building. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to copper first. Copper is down here. Since this already produces enough. Really? Huh. Weird. Weird. Wow. Wow, I'm having issues on wood stacks. Throughput of wood stacks. I did not expect to see that be a thing. I think I'm gonna do a bit of shenaniganery. I'm going to need a new supply station, that much is 100% certain. For the grade 4 copper. But I will do some beacon stuffs in order to increase the throughput of the copper. And I'm going to upgrade these to red belts. That's the other key. This will now be red. So double this throughput. Now, why do I have 2 when the throughput is actually like supposed to be 15 in total, and yet I have 2 of these? Well, as it turns out, if you can't fully unload, then the building pauses. And yeah, that's not a good thing for maintaining throughput of stuff. Like, maintaining throughput is not good if your building pauses. I've never gotten the full throughput of 15 per second out of these buildings, even though they are theoretically capable of more than 15, just because the amount of time that it takes to offload through here, it's like there's something weird going on with it. I've never gotten the full 15. There's always been a gap because of the cycle time. There's always been like some sort of a gap where it's just paused for too long. But anyway, it's like I can just do 2 of those, though. Maybe that will help me. But that should help me a bit more, I think. Yeah, that should help just a bit more. That says 171, huh? That says 171. Which I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure that is like more than 3. That is a number that is like more than 3. times 30? That's more than 4 times 30. That's like closer to 6 times 30. Yeah, that's 5.7. That's 5.7, but would we even get 5 is the question. It's like, yeah, I could do enough belts to output that much, but would it actually give it to me in that full amount? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's not as much of an issue with the 30 per second outputs. So that improves the output without really changing the input at all. But what it does do here is, you know, these are getting some productivity effects, which also means they're getting some consumption increases. So they're now using, let's see, 19.4 megawatts, and then this one on the end is 18.6. So these three are at 19.4, and this one's at 18.6. That is pretty significant. That being said, the wood that is being brought in, because those bottom builds in their entirety have stopped for all intents and purposes, since they're not providing plates anymore, since it seems like I may not need these for plates anymore. Means that I won't need as much of the wood for them either. Now I am going to pull in the stops, the grade 4. That the point will be the grade 4 from at least one of these builds. Why is the power so easy to break? How much grade 4 actually is from 6? 3 something? Is that going to be enough? Oh yeah, that's more than enough. That will be more than enough off just the one build. So then this can just die. Like I can just delete this whole build in its entirety. As well as all of that. And this line. We don't need this. I do need all of this, but I won't need any of that. And none of that. None of that either. I'm just going to place this, put our request or supply G4 copper. Depot G4 copper. Then we can delete things. Yay, deletion. Deletion is great. Thou shalt delete. Get it out of my map. And into my pockets. Give me performance. I must have more performance. Glorious and beautiful performance. Now I could do the same thing to the molten here, but I might not even need that molten build either. In fact, I'm going to say I don't need this either, because this is getting some productivity on its own. This whole thing can also die. Because those other bots get productivity, and that's more than doubling their outputs. And since I don't need as much of the, or because of that difference, the extra gets loaded onto the trains. Will just get loaded on the trains anyway. And there should be. As long as I have the wood for it. We're not actually going to start the graphene today, by the way. The chances are, unless we meet the incentive to add the hour to the stream, we're going to likely end off with the biofilm. Just so as we're aware, we're going to likely end with the biofilm so that in the next stream, when the next time we meet, we'll do graphene. That'll be the build. The flavor of the day will be making graphene. And I'll probably have the plans set up for the that's the stuff that you need for the bio-ores, the TBP factory. I'll probably have a breakdown for TBP by that point. All this can be like Mark II, can it? Yeah. Yeah, I could Mark II like all this, but I don't feel like it. What I would rather do is do the productivity on this step here for the grade 4 copper. Actually, these two would need it. Or I can leave it alone for now. I think I'll leave it alone for now. Destroy this stuff. It is tempting to beacon efficiency on those buffs, because that would help reduce the demand for the wood bricks. The stacked wood is 10 megajoules each, so yeah, and each one is equivalent of 5 wood per second. That's a lot of throughput required when like each one is 20. Effectively, each one is 20 megawatts times, what, 5? 4? That's 8 wood stacks per second. It's less than 8, but it's in that realm. Just to feed the molten for the copper. And I don't think that that's reasonable. For here, I don't need to maximize it that much, especially when I need the wood for other things. And the train's going to only bring so much at a time. I do need a new wood build, but I also need the tech to do what I want with the new wood build. That is another technology for logs. Here, wood processing 3. I want this recipe. I want access to this recipe that uses fertilizer and seedlings and water to make logs. This is the one that I want. I understand that by doing this, I will need to import something to make the fertilizer, or bring in the fertilizer, rather than being able to make it on site for the logs. There will be an ingredient required, but it is just so much better. It is a 10-second base crafting time to make the logs. That is significantly faster. Several times significantly faster than the than the recipe that I am doing right now, which is what even is? It is a muddy sludge and CO2 recipe to make logs. And it will be a significant reduction in overall infrastructure, but it will mean that anywhere that I am making wood locally will need to be replaced with an input from elsewhere. All right, so these guys are not being affected by the FM 2 through 5 line, so I need to be able to place this here. Or here on the, for the end one. All right, here's what we'll do. We'll do 4 and 5, or we'll do 5. Bah. Bah, I copy 1. 1. What? Oh, that's actually hitting all 3 of those. Interesting. Now what? No, that's not. It's not. But game, it's not. Oh, it's that. It needs to highlight. It needs to highlight the entity that it is getting covered by more than one. That needs to happen. There needs to be a highlight. Like, this is the one that's causing the problem. Like when I click on the building or something, it needs to like highlight like what the issue is. But that's that would take a lot to make happen. And we're going to beacon efficiency. And by doing that, we do cut into the cost. It's not quite enough. That's why I'm going to do 5, 5 here. And, should have done there. Can this guy get moved, like, there? Yes. And then the 5, 5 can be here. Efficiency, those. Now we're down to, like, doublings. Plus 108 and plus 92 for on the end. That is much more reasonable. We've got 4 5s. Let's do a 3 5. That still works here. Yeah, the 3 hits all of them, but can also be put like way down there. So I'll do that way down there. And that does another 60% reduction. So now we're at 48 and 32. And that's for the 3 5. On the 3 4, that'll be another 48. And that brings us to neutral and minus 16. We can go all the way to minus 80. And I'm thinking that might be on the agenda here. I'm thinking that might be on the agenda. What should also be on the agenda is changing this to 4 at a time. Let there be infinite wood here. He says when there's now 1 on the way, so that means that there's some sort of a lack of wood production overall. There is a lack of wood production overall. I am eating the full output. And I'm also seeing that there's some sort of an inefficiency here, because this is supposed to output fully compressed belts. Fully compressed belts. And that's clearly not fully compressed. And then I should have more up here, way up top. Like way, way, way up here. There should be more. Not there, but over... where are you? I had one. Here. Yeah, here. Wood 2. There are 3 on Wood 2, and they are all active. Great! Here, have 3 more, and you'll all go to Wood 2. But hey, at least that's moving now. So that has helped matters. Although I did notice that, yeah, it is sort of just making enough, like just enough to feed this. This is like 51 and this is 50 on the outputs of the molten. So that's a little disturbing. I may want to actually add something in here for a little bit more productivity affecting these buildings. It's weird though that I didn't initially have enough of these, provide enough of these to fully saturate the casting unit. That's weird. Because it's weird that with the extra productivity in here, the more than doubling, that it's still, that it's not. Oh, right, but I upgraded this to Mark II, and those are not Mark II. And those can't be Mark II until the next tech level, because that's one of those weird things. It's one of the weirdness things. Where there are a few buildings where the Mark II, for whatever strange reason, just does not unlock until Pi 3. And that is things like the BOFs and the smelters, BOFs, electric arc furnaces, smelters, and high pressure furnaces don't get unlocked until Pi 3, and it's very annoying. Because they tied them to sinter plant and direct reduction plants, DERPs. They tied it to these two, which need like carbon aerogel and stainless steel. That they need the stainless steel, and thus it got pushed back because they didn't want to separate these Mark II buildings that you should have had access to the entire time from these buildings here. Like, the hell? Thought that was a good idea. Because that's so arbitrary. Making the player wait that long just to get access to the Mark II buildings that they should have had from a long time prior, tech level prior. Now, there are some buildings that are exceptions that should be exceptions. Like, we just got access to the Mark I molecular assembler. Of course, they're not going to get access to the Mark II molecular assembler for a while. It's similar with the desulfurizator. We sort of just got desulfurizator access. So it'll be a bit more time before they give us that at Mark II. Same for the grease table. We just got the grease table. But there are other things where we should have just had it now, and that's those things. Smelter, BOF, electric arc furnace, and the high pressure furnace. Like, the high pressure furnace is one of the biggies that you don't get until Pi 3. It's like, what? Why? Would be really nice to have the BOF and the high pressure furnaces and the smelter and the electric arc furnace. But as much as I actually wanted to do the biofilm next, we sort of reached the end of the stream. We're like in our last minute here. So what have we done today? Today we have gotten into acrylic, and we got grade 4 copper put onto the train network, like improved the copper a little bit with our beacon shenanigans, so that we have that ingredient ready for making graphene rolls as the next major project. Now, what will we do between streams? Well, reminder, there will not be a stream on Thursday because of the Thanksgiving holiday here in the United States. So the next time that we meet will be on Sunday. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to be continuing to add power and add beacons with productivity modules to a lot of places around the base. I will be making the necessary adjustments I need to make in order to perform, or in order to get this update that just went through to the Pi suite installed, so that it doesn't like immediately break the base. And besides that process, which is likely going to take, forever to get through, eventually, get all my trains upgraded to the most recent trains, address bottlenecks that I've seen today that appear to be bottlenecks, like with the wood bricks, the stacked wood, excuse me. And just general scaling, really. Making more of all of the things would be great. Getting the science scaled so I can actually chew through these techs a little bit faster would be quite nice. And yeah, when we meet again, we will work on, we'll do biofilm, we'll do graphene rolls, and we'll likely start work on the tributyl phosphate, TBP. We'll see how many techs I get through by then, if I actually can unlock the advanced substrate that's used for the bio ore, and if we can just go work on the bio ore as like the next project. But there's still a ton of other stuff to still do on the way to Pi 3. There's still great alien samples. This tech right now that I'm working on unlocks great alien samples, so we have to work on that, as well as any creatures we need to build that. Pretty sure Dingert spikes are needed at some point in here. Yeah, so it's just, there's a lot that is getting unlocked at this tech level to get into Pi 3, and we have to do quite a bit to get into Pi 3. It'll be really nice once we get there, because that's going to unlock the ability to research circuit 3s, which, that unlocks max level modules, like God Module 5s. It doesn't unlock the next beacons, but it does get us through God Module 5. So we can do everything that we've done now, just with 50% productivity and a reduction in power draw and increase in speed. That's a biggie, getting to that as soon as possible. Yeah. So with that, I would like to thank you all for watching today. This has been a Talkie Show, but if you have enjoyed today's stream and you're watching the VOD later on YouTube, please be sure to do all of the social and engagement stuff below the video. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, hit the notification bell, consider becoming a member of the channel by hitting the great big blue join button. Supporting on Patreon at patreon.com/talkieshitbut if you're so inclined. I do stream on Twitch live, as well as on YouTube, so you can do all the stuff over there too. You can subscribe. I am an affiliate on Twitch. Do the bits and all the other sort of stuff when I'm live, if you are so inclined. I will be back with this on Sunday. I hope to see you all then.